Moorish home conclave to be held in mid-June. Ministers and religious leaders of all faiths will attend a Moroccan inter-organizational conference at the Moorish National Home, Great Barrington, Massachusetts, from June 14th to 19th to establish an interfaith brotherhood. Grand Sheikh F. Turner L., executive director of the Moorish Home, said about 5,000 persons were expected to attend. Their aim is to organize a religious group along the lines of the United Nations organization. Ain't that what the Prophet founded the Moorish Divine and National Movement of the World for? He said the nations of the world will only recognize you through the Moorish Divine and National Movement of the World. And that's the literature and words straight from Noble Drew Ali. So all the brothers and sisters that's trying to recreate something, Noble Drew Ali brought everything it takes to save a nation. And these Moors was trying everything. Even if they was doing it in good heart, they had to stick to the script. Noble Drew Ali said Moorish Divine and National Movement of the World. Those expected to attend include Governor Robert Bradford of Massachusetts, Henry Wallace, Representative Powell, Republican of New York, Dr. G. Kier Allah, Dr. G. of New York, spokesman for the Muslim Brotherhood, and representatives from Egypt, India, and Morocco. Mr. L said there were 4 million Moorish American Muslims in this country and that several representatives from Washington will attend the conference. Are y'all hearing that? So India, Morocco, Egypt, all of them know who the Moorish Americans are. And this is 1947. So Egypt, Morocco, India, they all know there's 4 million Moorish Americans. They know. Also Massachusetts, like right now, Brother Jamal having problem with Massachusetts. They're not wanting to what? Honor the Constitution, the supreme law of the land. They know the history. They know they made their own laws on the boat of the Mayflower. They created their own laws together in a group, and I have all that too. But yeah, man, since then, they've been talking, they've been putting together their own, what you would call United Nations. You know what I'm saying? Where's that at right now? Noble Drew Ali needs to stay up front. So we'll be back probably Holy Friday. I put in a lot of work already. I was looking at some of the analytics. We had like 20 hours of people studying this week on the channel. 20 hours. That's a long time though. Just think about sitting 20 hours straight. That's a lot of hours that they put in, man. It's long. And 6 subscribers. So if I came to the Prophet today and I'd say, look, I got 6 brothers that come back and want to study more. And I have 20 hours of demonstration hours in. So that's good, right? Tonight we're staying up a little bit late. Like I said, we're coming back on Holy Friday, but right now it's the buck moon. It's supposed to set at around 4:30 a.m. So right now we have the full moon going on, the buck moon. Right now I want to read about a Shiekess, a Moorish mother from 1933 who did a very honorable deed, and I found it in a newspaper. No one would probably ever talk about Mother Shiekess, Martha Washington L. And I want to bring her up tonight on this buck full moon. She did a very honorable deed we're about to read. Shiekess Martha Washington L. of the Moorish Science Temple of America carried 47 Moors and Asiatic children to Shadyside Park at Mount Clement, July 7th. Parents are invited to go with the group every Friday at 12 o'clock during the summer. Each child is asked to pay 1 to 5 cents to help pay the expense of the truck. These outings are planned so that the children of the locality may enjoy the recreational side of life as other nationalities do. Amusements are swimming, baseball, and swinging. Again, honors to this mother, Shiekess Martha Washington L., for showing in her actions and deeds, her noble deeds, being active, Islam. We're going to go through some Moorish clippings today. The first one is of the so-called riot in Chicago when they snatched up Kirkman Bay. 1 policeman and 1 other were killed. 2 policemen were wounded. 1 probably fatally, and 2 others were wounded in Chicago riot when police broke into a flat in the heart of the quote-unquote Black Belt looking for Kirkman Bay, cult leader of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And at this time, Noble Drew Ali was still on the scene. And Kirkman Bey was not the leader. He was an advisor. And as of this moment, he probably was nothing because Noble Ali wasn't trusting none of them. His mail was getting messed up, and Emiliel worked for the post office. He was in the good graces of Noble Ali, and Noble Ali started having to get all his stuff. Just everything was messed up. Who had been kidnapped by other leaders during a feud. There are said to be 27 temples in various cities whose members are believed to be fighting against white supremacy. When we know Noble Ali was pushing for all nations must be under love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice if they want peace. So it wasn't no feud. Bey, who is said to have opposed violence, was rescued by police. Left Edward J. Toucey and Owen Ward, policemen who took part in the shooting, and above the scene of the riot, state militia were called out to guard armories and prevent clashes. So they had militia in this, man. But also, like when they speak about guarding the armories, what are they saying? Like Noble Ali was speaking about having access to the armory. So if you have your nationality and you're part of a nation, and as far as the national armory, if something goes down, do you got access to go get that get that stuff? Because that's what it sounds like. Because they speaking about tanks and everything with Noble Ali having access to the national armory. And I lived right beside an armory, and it was always open. I mean, they had a caged fence and stuff, but there was always stuff there, man. So I don't know if you could just, if you're a nation, you could straight utilize all that stuff. We'll get on to the hammer, to Ira. Cult leader gets life, Chicago. Ira Johnson Bey, 50. Moorish American. Head of the Moorish Science Temple. See, there we go again. They're calling someone else a leader. Always trying to hide Noble Ali. But also, you know what they're trying to do? The masses that are reading these papers, when they see that the so-called leader was taken out, they don't think of it no more, and they just think it's gone. You know what I mean? So they wanted to put out that propaganda too. Because, you know, you take the leader out, then it's all gone. Was sentenced to life imprisonment yesterday for the murder of 2 policemen in a gun battle last fall. 2 Moors were also sentenced to 1 to 14 years each. All pleaded guilty. The policemen William Gallagher and Jesse Holtz had gone with others to rescue a member of the cult kidnapped in a factional quarrel. And if you go back, you'll find that I went to the website of the Chicago police and found where they have all the dedication and the images of the so-called officers that's fallen. And I have the images of both Jesse Holtz and William Gallagher. Had gone with others to rescue the member of the cult kidnapped in a factional quarrel. The Moors barricaded themselves in a South Side apartment and shot it out with a score of policemen. But you know what's crazy right now? This is how much studying I do. At this moment in time, when I found the address or mailing location of these apartments, you know what it is now in these days and times? The police station, brothers and sisters. Go look it up. I found that like a year ago, man, and it blew my mind. Just like when we was Noble Ali was talking about the post office. Noble Ali told the Europeans, go invest in that post office. You know why? Because at the time, he knew they was getting ready to make contractors build the biggest post office in so-called U.S. And Noble Ali knew about it because he was probably in on the contract. He probably invested. He was speaking to investors like, hey, they're getting ready to build the biggest post office. So the biggest one. And it's going to be the headquarters for the post office. So y'all better invest in that. And them Europeans said, hey, and they went and invested, man. And sure enough, they started building the biggest post office in North America. Also, Noble Ali said he had to take Islam across State Street. Then I started to go look at State Street. And what did I find? I found an Islamic center, and I found another Islamic affairs. There's an Islamic mosque. And then there's a Islamic Affairs that's on State Street. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get in a time machine and go into the 1960s with a Moorish American in court. Court backs prison ban on tracks. Baltimore, October 6th. A Baltimore Circuit Court judge ruled yesterday that officials of the Patuxent institution violated no constitutional rights of inmates when they restricted certain religious tracts. The ruling, without precedent in Maryland, came in a complaint by an inmate at the prison for directive delinquents, Abraham Porter, who claims to be a Muslim. Judge Reuben Oppenhelmer said certain of the writings sent to the institution by the Moorish Science Temple, of which Porter said he was affiliated, could have proved detrimental to all Patuxent inmates if read by the persons from whom they were intended. Porter, however, denied being a member of the Black Muslims, a militant sect which preaches supremacy of the Negro race. The Muslims claim spiritual kinship with the Muslim religion, but Muslims in the country in Africa have denied any connection with them. But we just read, Egypt, India, all of them, Morocco, all of them was meeting with Moorish Americans. Porter, who was sent to Patuxent after being convicted of arson, contended that he and several other prisoners were denied access to tracts from the Moorish temple, an opportunity to meet with its representatives. Judge Oppenhelmer said the Muslim inmates have no more right to demand tracts and religious instructions from the sect to which they belong than Protestants, Jews, or Catholics or Patuxents, a prison for directive delinquents. Shiekess Leeds, Assistant Attorney General, said prison officials feared communication with Porter's sect would serve to incite to riot or mutiny and undermine and endanger the safety of patients at Jessup. Again, y'all enjoy the full moon, brothers and sisters. I was reading a translation from Sanskrit, and it was speaking about, the moon when it fills up and it's full of light, it's because the spirits was filling up. And now it will start to empty the souls out and send them back to Allah as it waxes. But Islam, brothers and sisters.